What's happening? Let's make sure I'm actually live before I start getting into anything, but good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. Good morning to the three in the stream so far. JSM Radio in the house. All right, we got a little pre-roll ad running here. It looks like we are live indeed. And I believe we have sound as well. We got a little. Yes, we do. So we're live and good. Good morning, everybody. Both of yous. Hope y'all are having a wonderful Friday morning. Supposed to be a hot one today. One of the hottest days so far in the year, they are saying. So, YouTube, Johnny on the spot. What's up, man? Good morning to you. So, yeah, man, just doing a quick impromptu stream to gripe about a few things. That's all. Hit the like on the way in. That's right, JSM Radio. Appreciate that. Because, you know, there's always things to piss you off, and sometimes you just got to vent. Good morning, Rosie Krupp. So we'll just get right into it. The first thing I wanted to touch on was, so the other day I got this $10 charge on my Cash App statement, and I didn't recognize it, you know. Just $10 a charge of, it just said basic. So I'm thinking, dang, that's $10 for basic. Like, what is that? Like, I didn't understand, didn't ring a bell. So I dig a little deeper, and there's no, like, on the Cash App history, there's no company information, doesn't tell you what it's for, nothing. It's just basic. And then the date and time that it hit. And then, in the history on Cash App, you can see how many times you've done business with this entity that is just the generic basic, right? And I had actually another previous charge the previous month on the same date at about the same time for $10 as well. And I'm racking my brain, trying to figure out what the hell is this basic? And I could never figure it out. So I called Cash App. Yeah, they do have a toll-free help desk number. I don't know how helpful they are, but they do try. Because I actually tried the Cash App chat thing first, and they couldn't tell me anything. They're basically like, we don't have, happy birthday to you. We don't have any information on our end either, which is just so weird to me, because you would think that if you're able to just, you know, if you're doing business on Cash App or with a debit card, because that's what it was through the Cash App debit card purchase, you would think that if you're running people's credit card numbers and stuff and charging them monthly, you would have to have some sort of vendor information on file even to do that. Like, I'm not sure how you could possibly get away with doing that without having any. So the whole thing was very suspect and very fishy. And so after trying to research it on my own and then chatting with Cash App's help desk and even calling their toll-free number, nothing. Later that day or the next day, and so basically what they told me was if I wanted to dispute that charge, basically Cash App would have to cancel my debit card and send me a new card, which is, I don't want them to do that because I'm in a damn hotel and I don't really technically have an address right now. And if they cancel that card, I'll not be able to get another one sent until, you know, I have a legit permanent address to give to them, right? Because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. And it takes, you know, usually a couple of weeks. And I don't know. I don't plan that far ahead, right? In a hotel. So anyway, the whole thing, I was like trying to figure out, so couldn't figure it out, but I also didn't want to dispute it and have my Cash App card canceled. And I'm sitting there asking Cash App, like, so how do I prevent them from hitting my card for $10 again next month? Because I believe they probably will, and I have no fucking clue who these people are. So that's where I had left it. You know, I've got a whole month to figure out what I'm going to do about this basic $10 charge. And then I went to upload something onto Rumble, And I noticed right in big letters that I'm on the basic Rumble membership, which is a $10 recurring monthly charge. So lo and behold, that's what it was. So basically, when you sign up with Rumble, if you want to have any sort of permanent hosting of the videos that you're uploading, you've got to pay Rumble a fee. And the most generic, basic, smallest package that you can get is the basic one, right? Basic. So hence the $10 recurring monthly fee to basic. So that was figured out. And basically what I did was I immediately canceled the membership, because when I started up with Rumble, I've actually set up my Rumble account a few years ago, because there's all the hoopla about how Rumble is a free speech platform and you can say whatever you want and they're not going to shadow ban you or censor your videos or whatever. So I don't know if that's necessarily how Rumble advertises, but that's sort of the word of mouth that you get as a content creator about Rumble. And what I found out pretty quickly was that Rumble is basically fuck Rumble is what I'm saying. And it didn't take me very long to figure it out. First of all, I did a gamble with the $10 thing to see how, because in order to monetize your videos on Rumble, you have to be at a paid level, like a paid tier subscription one. And so what I found out very quickly was, so let me back up. When I had uploaded a bunch of my content to Rumble in the past, years ago, and when I started looking into it again here recently, I noticed that all of the stuff that I had put up on Rumble was just gone. I think maybe one video remained of all the stuff that I had put up there. All the other stuff was just gone, and I'm thinking, God, I could have sworn that I had put a bunch of stuff up here, but whatever. I wanted to specifically do it for content that I don't necessarily feel comfortable putting up on YouTube that's not going to get censored. I kind of figured, we'll dip a toe in the Rumble waters again, because when I had dealt with Rumble in the past, it was just clunky. It didn't seem like a finished product. We get kind of spoiled with YouTube because it is, well, at least it was prior to the most recent user interface update. It was very easy to use, and sure, you learn it again, whatever. But, I wanted to see how Rumble was going to be as an alternative to YouTube and see how that is. But so first of all, when I put up the video and paid the $10 fee, which by the way, you don't have to pay YouTube to host on there. Right. So there's definitely a huge, big difference right there, positive win for YouTube in this sort of, comparing apples to apples, Rumble and YouTube. But so when I first started advertising, monetizing the video on Rumble, within the first couple of days, I noticed I could have sworn there was $3 in earnings on that one video, which I thought, wow, in just a couple of days, that's pretty awesome, right? I think it was $3, but later on, and now it's months later, and I'm $20 in it to Rumble, I think in total I've earned 4 cents. So that was weird. Like, what happened to the $3? But okay, whatever, maybe I read it wrong. But one thing that came back to me very quickly from you guys, from the viewers, was that video, the Transpocalypse 2023 video, was showing as private on Rumble on y'all's end, where on my end, it was showing as it was supposed to have been public and monetized. But for you guys out there, the viewers that are verbatim searching for it, or maybe even following a link to the video, you can't watch it on Rumble. So that was within the first couple of days of putting that video up, and of course promoting it on YouTube with the little Transpocalypse 2023 thumbnail. Yeah, Mr. E. Yeah, right. Mr. E did some great stuff, man. It's like the Transpocalypse thing is something that I can only do in small doses because it is just so disturbing, right? I mean, that's a disturbing concept or subject matter to sit there and talk about and research in depth for hours and have to edit through it and watch it back. Like it's disturbing stuff. Like nobody really wants to go through that. But at the same time, I do feel like it's an important thing that needs to be discussed. Like we need to talk about this. I just don't know if I could do transvestigation videos or transpocalypse videos every day, right? Because at least with flat Earth, it feels like that's spiritually rewarding and fulfilling at the end of the day, right? But with transpocalypse, it's like, damn, you have to take a hot boiling shower and scrub off with steel wool at the end of the day with that, right? Because it's just so disturbing. But anyways, so Rumble, not only is it costing me $10 a month just to have my stuff up there, but also nobody's watching the videos on there because it appears that Rumble is instantly shadow banning my videos. So, while they might not outright censor us, they're taking a page right out of YouTube's playbook by anything that's related to flat Earth content or transpocalypse type content, like revelation stuff, like deceptions, massive deceptions of our culture that have been foisted on us since we were little kids by the many tentacles of the hidden hand of the government or whatever, the media and these different tentacles. Whenever you start talking about that stuff, whether it's the Federal Reserve scam or the transpocalypse or flat Earth, we get
what?
We get sorry. We just get blackballed by whoever the platform happens to be, right? So I lost my train of thought there, sorry. But yeah, so I'm not gonna pay $10 a month for Rumble to shadow ban me, and also not to mention, like, why are they being so shady about that $10? Like, because honestly, like, think about it. If I hadn't have figured out that it was Rumble and then went there to cancel it, there was no way for me to connect that $10 charge with any vendor at all through Cash App history. Not even Cash App customer support could tell me. Yeah, it's just crazy and slimy that they would do it like that. Because again, I don't want to necessarily cancel my Cash App card because I can't remember who this $10 is going to. You would think that it would show up on your credit card statement as Rumble basic membership fee with a phone number for their customer service and like a transaction number. No, it's just, I mean, if I wasn't using my phone's camera to stream this right now, I could pull it up on my phone and show you that there was no way to figure out who that $10 was going to from my end or even from Cash App customer services end. And that's just, to me, that's slimy because, again, you're basically holding the person, the content creator's debit card hostage, right? It's crazy. And so to YouTube's credit, while they certainly do shadow ban me and like mess with view counts and unsubscribe subscribers from the channel without their knowing, so YouTube is definitely slimy, right? But at least they're not charging me money to slime all over me, right? Like that's, you gotta have some big cojones, to Rumble's credit. They've got some big old balls to do that to their bread and butter, to their content creators. So, really, so why would I pay $10 a month to a company that's going to shadow ban me anyway, has a fraction of the potential audience as YouTube, and charges me every month to do it, and is so shady about how they do those charges? Because if I would have noticed that, if they would have just said, $10 to Rumble for this, I would have realized that instantly, and I wouldn't have had to go just to waste my time trying to figure out who that was. And so, of course, it all clicked into place when I happened to check the Rumble website, and this was on my brain, but I don't think we should have to go through that. Yeah, Rumble sucks. So, and I guess I'm still going to be posting stuff on there, but there's no point in it. Unless I advertise the video on YouTube and like leave a link on my YouTube channel, like 3 or 4 people see the video. So what's the point? What's the point in me paying $10 to Rumble if like it takes 2 months to earn 4 cents or whatever? Like, it's just not worth it. It's just not. So Rumble, that's Rumble. So the next thing I want to gripe about is Econolodge. And man, this is going to be a good one. So there's certain viewers out there that claim that they called the Econolodge where I'm at and spoke with one of the guys, and they told them that I'm not here at Econolodge where I've been at for 3 weeks now almost. Anyway, there's a few things about Econolodge, but I'm gonna put up a video that's linked to a Yelp review or a Google review or whatever that I'm putting together against Econolodge. Like, I've kind of learned not to put out bad reviews on a place while I'm still staying there, but there's a lot of shit about this place. It is the cheapest place in town, and it was just a couple of miles or like less than a mile from where I was at, and I had to move in a hurry, so it was like sort of an under duress situation. I've got a dog and everything. I had reservations here, but I mean, first of all, there's cockroaches in this place, German roaches and palmetto bugs, like the whole family of roach bugs are here. They haven't done anything about that. When we first got here, the tub was just filthy, and I pulled out like just wads of short and curly hairs out of the drain in the tub. It was absolutely disgusting. I went to change the bedding because they won't do anything for the room. Like, even if you ask them for toilet paper, like, or whatever, you have to go get it. Like, they don't do turn down service or nothing. Like, there is no housekeeping. Maybe if you're on a nightly side or whatever, but if you're paying by the week, they don't want to do any of that. So after about the first week, I took all the bedding off, and so let me back up. On the bedding, they have like 3 fitted sheets, and the bottom fitted sheet is one that it's like a slip that covers the entire king size mattress and like zips around it. And that thing, which was underneath 2 other fitted sheets, had poo-poo stains all over it. And I didn't realize this until I took it off, that if they had changed out the sheets prior to me moving in here, they had just left that thing on there because it was filthy and it was underneath other fitted sheets. So I took all that off. And when I was taking the bedding off, the top comforter and the blanket that's underneath it had big old burn holes that were like tucked underneath the foot of like where the feet of the mattress is. So I didn't notice any of this until I started taking it apart to bring it to them. So like, whatever, I just wanted the clean sheets. A couple days later, they called me down to the office, and I got all this on film. Dude had me follow him out to the laundry room and started telling me off about the holes that were in the comforter and in the blanket. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell him that stuff was like, yeah, it was like that when we got here, but it was. And he was like basically telling me he's going to charge me $1,000 for the blankets and stuff, like crazy. I got all that on film. So I'm definitely going to put together a little video with a picture of the short and curlies that I pulled out, just to link up to the Google Plus review or whatever that I'm going to do on this place. Because I don't know, man, if you're doing bad business, you're going to get bad reviews. And so maybe in the future, as a result of me doing an honest bad review, because it is honest, I'm not going to make anything up, it's all true, maybe they'll think twice about the way that they treat their customers in the future. So basically, fuck Rumble, fuck Econolodge, for real. And be on the lookout for that video. It's coming soon. I'm not going to be here too much longer. RV would be nice. Yeah, RV would be way nicer. So I've been in a little bit of a back and forth with a globe Earth believer. I'll respect where respect's due. From this side of the argument, it can be easy to like dehumanize the quote unquote globetards, which is just a figure of speech. I don't really mean anything by that, but it can be easy from where we're sitting, especially behind computer screens, to dehumanize the people that are on the other end of this debate. And so one of the things that this reminded me is, let's try to be civil, even to the globetards. And, you're not gonna stop me from saying words that offend you because, frankly, I don't care. I really don't. As a vocal proponent for flat Earth, we put up with a lot of ad hominem and really quite vicious attacks from all angles, but especially from the globe Earth believers' angles. And the average passerby in internet land notices when one side of the argument appears to be ridiculous. And if we don't point out that their position is ridiculous, some people don't pick up on that very easily. But really, if you've been looking at flat Earth for years, as some of these people claim, and can't at least admit that there are some very valid points against the globe Earth belief and for the flat and stationary Earth reality, then really you're kind of a lost cause. You as an individual have to decide to really skeptically revisit your beliefs that you've held your entire life. Most globe Earth believers don't remember the first time that they were told that they live stuck to the side of a spinning ball. And that should tell you something. And as a globe Earther, you can't tell the flat Earther that, well, maybe you're the one that's brainwashed. You can't do that unless they're teaching flat Earth and forcing flat Earth belief down the throats of our toddlers and kindergartners and pushing flat Earth propaganda all over the mainstream and all over the underground as they do with the media. No, the brainwashing campaign and a big part of the Great Deception is the spinning ball Earth. You can't try to turn around and say, no, well, maybe I'll say that flat earthers are the ones that's brainwashed. No, it's not how that works. So I wrote a poem that's going in, or I'm writing a poem that's going in my next video that I'm working on right now. Debating Santa Globe. This is still a work in progress, but I'm going to read a little of this to you guys that I've got so far and tell me what you think. So, debating Santa Globe in August. Okay, so the middle of June 2023. Sugar plums and blue balls pepper the dreams of the globetards who want a scientific debate about Santa Claus. Little Dickie is writing a letter under his covers after bedtime with a flashlight. Daddy checks in on Little Dickie and catches him writing the letter. Daddy tells Little Dickie it's the middle of June. Daddy tells Little Dickie it's the middle of July, my boy. But you're writing to Santa this long list of toys. Little Dickie gets angry and yells in reply, he forgot my space rocket last year, man. He lied. I asked for a rocket last year at the mall. I even pretended to brush, floss, and all. Even though I was as good as the bestest, Santa forgot the main thing at the top of my list. So I'm writing to Santa 6 months early this year so that Santa's fat ass and his lazy ass reindeer might get to the children who acted the best. Santa, please bring down my space rocket and don't forget solid state fuel so I can blast off, then fly to the moon and drop lots of bombs on my school. And if you can't fit it right down through the fireplace, I think I might have an idea. I'll just leave my trike right on Dad's favorite parking space. Then you can leave my new rocket right here. Daddy flushed pale and stepped back a few paces, got down on one knee to level their faces. Dickie, my boy, since you just turned 11, it's high time you knew certain things about Christmas and heaven. Dickie got angry, face all red with his hands on his hips. I've got a letter to write, so you best make it quick. I know that your mommy and I always told you that Santa was real and he lived at the North Pole. We told you that if you were always a good boy, he'd bring you whatever you asked. But if you were bad and killed any more cats, Santa would bring you a big lump of coal and of ash. I'm sorry, my boy, I'll just come out and tell you, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Your mom and I lied about Santa for years now. We thought it an innocent trick. But Dickie, I'm sorry to tell you for certain that Santa Claus just isn't real. Dickie was shocked. He was visibly reeling from the news that he had just heard, resembling a boy just hit with an anvil or a man who just stomped out a bag full of flaming turds. Dickie told Daddy, now stop right there, mister. I know Santa is real. I have proof. The newscaster said it the other day, Tuesday. Santa was spotted practicing landing on roofs. Why would the news lie and all of my teachers? They can't all be in on this, man. The government can't keep a blowjob a secret, so how could they manage this scam? I don't believe you, I want you to know, but there's one way that I can be sure. Science is best and science is true. Science will prove this 'cause science is great. To prove that I'm right and there really is Santa, we'll have a scientific debate. But Dickie, I'm sorry to burst your little bubble, but science only deals with natural phenomenon. You'll never prove Santa one way or the other. I'm telling you, son, it was me and your mother. We bought the presents and wrapped them in paper. The news is a liar. They're worse than a raper. The concept of Santa Claus is not falsifiable. You're never going to produce concrete, physical, scientific evidence that proves Santa Claus is not real. Or if you can, as soon as you begin the debating process with a child who believes in Santa Claus, you're giving the concept of Santa Claus way too much credit already. In other words, you can't debate against magic tricks with facts, or you can't debate against the concept of magic with facts. Facts will never stand a chance against someone who believes in magic, right? So we're gonna get more on that poem, but it's so true. If you're debating against someone who has believed in a false concept for their entire life, so like magic or Santa Claus or the globe, there really is no rational discussion that you can have with that person. Because when you point out that there is no physical evidence for Earth's supersonic and hypersonic axial rotation and orbital trajectories, what they try to do is start pointing at the stars and the wandering stars to somehow transitively prove something about the ground here in reality by looking up at the heavenly luminaries, which are a big mystery for sure. But they'll say things like, even to this day, well, we see these other planets that appear to be spheres in space flying around. So what makes you think that our planet, or what makes you think that we're any different? And you really can't argue with that, because they have been brainwashed into a certain cosmology where Earth is just, the third rock from the sun. We're just like all the other planets. And, people think that there's all kinds of evidence for that. But in reality, the Earth is nothing like the wandering stars or the moon or the sun. The Earth is a measurably stationary plane. If it was, so just because there are spheres flying around in the night sky doesn't mean that the Earth is a sphere flying around in the night sky. If you're going to measure a tennis court for curvature, so like if you're trying to determine whether or not a tennis court is a plane or a sphere, you don't go measuring tennis balls. Don't go measuring tennis balls. Isn't that a song? I don't know. But you can't do that. You have to measure the tennis court for sphericity. And anybody who is worth their salt in measuring things will attest to the fact that tennis courts are planes and tennis balls may be spheres, but the tennis ball doesn't prove anything about the tennis court. The same thing goes with the measurably flat and stationary world. If the world was spinning around on an axis at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, orbiting the sun at 18.5 miles per second, which translates to 666 miles an hour. That's their claim. This is all ball earth science facts. If that were the case, and also at the same time, the sun was traveling with the Earth at a 60-degree angle to the Earth's orbital plane or the ecliptic plane at like 500,000 miles an hour. All of these conflicting curvilinear trajectories in constant phase shifts through their inertial reference frame, because there would never be 2 days that were alike. Not to mention, since we're spinning, in the morning, the Earth should be racing up towards your feet at 666 miles an hour. And 12 hours later, after you have spun around to the backside of the Earth's trajectory, so now you're like on the back of the speeding bullet Earth instead of on the nose of it. Now the Earth's supposedly traveling down away from your feet at 666 miles an hour. Constant acceleration, constant mind-boggling curvilinear angular acceleration, as well as acceleration in terms of sheer velocity. It would be so obvious that we were spinning around and flying through space, there would be no need to have this conversation, because really we'd be hanging on by the frickin' monkey bars that are installed everywhere so that we can hang on for dear life anytime we go for a walk outside, right? There's no physical evidence for spinning ball Earth because it is stationary, and even, capital S science admits this much. I.e., the Earth is obviously a fixed frame of reference. That's not debated. The Earth behaves as a fixed frame of reference, and all of, capital S science can agree with that statement because it is measurably a true statement. The problem is a spinning ball that's flying around 5 different directions at once cannot behave as a fixed frame of reference. It's not possible. There are certain immutable physical laws that cannot be avoided by anything in physical nature, that you can't get around that just because it jives with your belief in a spinning ball Earth. The problem convincing globetards that the Earth is flat and stationary isn't for the evidence. There's plenty of evidence. The evidence is astonishing. The never-ending pile of empirical proof that all points to a static plane Earth as opposed to a spinning ball Earth is just absolutely staggering. It's unbelievable how much evidence there is. The problem isn't finding new evidence to present to the globetards. The problem is getting globe Earth believers to really put the ball Earth's feet to the fire when it comes to proof. Like, you can't just go on believing in spinning ball Earth because it's something that you've always believed since you were a toddler and don't even remember the first time somebody told you it was a spinning ball. That ought to tell you something. Be honest with yourself, man. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to really consider that you may have been lied to. You may have been wrong your entire life. And that's a difficult thing to do. And it's a shame because there are so many well-meaning, decent people that have been duped by this. And basically we have to be mortal enemies on this subject because, well, in my opinion, it's so obvious that flat earth is the truth. Like once you get past the mind control programming, which everybody was subjected to their whole life, we've all been put through that meat grinder. Okay, once you get past that, it is so obvious. Like, how could we have been so stupid? And when people come to me telling me that, well, they have skeptically analyzed the ball earth and they haven't found one single thing that would lead them to believe that flat earth is the truth, you're not being honest with yourself, man. You're not. You haven't really considered this, because all of the flimsy so-called proofs, like the ships going over the horizon, hull first and mast last, thus proving the curve, or, all the other planets are spheres, therefore the Earth must also be a sphere. It's all logical fallacies. The things that are actually not logical fallacies still are, because they claim that, well, this is only possible on a ball. So like circumnavigation, they claim, is only possible on a ball. So while circumnavigation is possible on a ball, hypothetically, that's not exclusive to a ball. You can circumnavigate the flat Earth with the central magnetic north, right? So that's pretty simple. No flat earther is going to claim that you can only circumnavigate on a flat plane, but frankly, you can only do anything on a flat plane. You can't walk around on the sides of anything, damn it. Certainly can't walk around on the sides of something that's spinning 1,000 miles an hour and never notice it, right? It's so absurd. Absolutely just nonsensical. So like a week or two ago, one of you guys out there was getting onto me for smoking cigarettes. And, while I do appreciate the concern, it's a terrible addiction that I do hope to quit one day. But, my position on it is people die every day. First, we're all going to die. I mean, news flash, and I know that's a bright and cheery Friday morning conversation to have, but every single one of us is going to die one day. And there are people that have done everything right in life, never touched a cigarette, ate all the right foods, that are going to die in a car crash this very moment, right? So, yeah, that's not an excuse that we should just all go out and start smoking cigarettes and jumping off of bridges or whatever. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you smoke cigarettes and die of cancer, then you're a statistic that you can point to and say, yeah, you shouldn't smoke. I agree. But on the other hand, there are people that die of cancer every day that never touched a cigarette too. And there are people that never touched a cigarette that are gonna, die going to the bathroom today or drown in the shower or something, right? I mean, it's there's no stopping that. But this reminded me, and all of the discussion that's going on in flat Earth land about the whole vitamin C thing, right, with scurvy. Yeah, cigarettes are a motherfucker. Like, I started smoking when I was pretty young. I was like 14 or 15 years old, and I did it because my older brother and his friends were doing it, and I wanted to be cool and fit in. What a stupid thing. Like now, so many years later, like I kick myself in the ass, but it's a real physical addiction. Like, it is a motherfucker. And in my opinion, if you guys remember, like right around the aughts or whatever, like right around the 2000s, there was this huge class action lawsuit against Big Tobacco, where Big Tobacco had to pay out a whole bunch of money for cancer and things like that. Basically knowingly marketing to children and knowingly selling a product that causes cancer and all that stuff. I don't know the details of the class action suit, but Big Tobacco lost their ass. And one thing that I noticed as a cigarette smoker throughout that transition was, after the Big Tobacco lost their ass, it seemed like they started putting different chemicals or new additives in it to make it even more physically addictive. I will quit smoking one day, and I am an advocate for rolling your own. So like you can get a carton and a big bag of tobacco for under $20, and at least you're not paying an arm and a leg to kill yourself. But you know, it's a disgusting habit, and I appreciate, you know, those of you guys out there that get on me to quit. I appreciate that, and I don't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely right. It's an awful habit. And I'm just going to make an excuse, you know, when I'm in a position in life where I don't have constant stress, I think I'll be in a better position to quit. But maybe that'll never happen. I've quit before. I want to quit, and I will quit one day. But it's a bitch. It's a motherfucker. So agreed. Okay, so we talked about Rumble. We talked about Econolodge. Endless bickering with the Globers. Yeah. So like, you know, I'm open to talk to anyone and say my 2 cents. And the thing is, when it comes to debating Globe Earth believers, I'm even happy to do that. But it is a difficult thing to do because they have certain beliefs. So like, if they believe that NASA went to the moon and walked around with their little Freemasons and their little Freemasons played golf on the moon, and they believe all that, you can't debate with somebody about that, right? You're never going to provide scientific proof that NASA didn't go walk around on the moon because, damn it, their claims are not falsifiable. The claims of NASA are exactly pseudoscience because they are non-demonstrable, non-testable, non-repeatable, non-falsifiable, right? And so really you can't debate with somebody that believes in magic. There is no debating against that. You can only hammer the facts back to them. The fact is there is no curvature. If the Earth was a sphere, damn it, it would have to have a certain degree of convexity to it, especially over large, vast areas of water. I remember growing up, my dad always told me that you can't see an object more than 20 miles away because of the curve of the Earth. Well, you know, I can show you pictures of mountain ranges that are 275 miles away, easily visible with no curve in between. Because, damn it, the Earth's a plane. Furthermore, you know, you can show them certain laws of physics involving rotational bodies and how the Earth definitely should behave as a rotating body with centrifugal force and all of the inertial tags or the inertial points of evidence that come along with the Earth spinning around and flying through space. It should be obvious. There should be measurable inertial points that you could point to and say, see. But no, there is none of that. The only thing that the globetards can do is point to the heavens because that's where all of the spinning is happening, is in the heavens. And it doesn't matter how big you imagine the globe Earth to be. If your ass was spinning around faster than the speed of sound along a curve right now, you'd know it. It would be obvious. You'd have to hang on. And they say, well, no, you don't understand gravity, John. That's what gravity does. Okay, so compare the equator to the North Pole, right? At the equator, they say you're hauling ass at 1,000 miles an hour along that curve. And as you travel north away from the equator, you get slower and slower, right up to the point at the North Pole at the top where they say that you are spinning half the speed as the hour hand on a clock, right? Barely spinning at all, discernibly not spinning at all. So where's gravity then? So the gravity that's supposedly keeping all the oceans stuck to the sides of the spinning Earth and keeping your ass walking around, you know, perpendicular to the axis at the equator, that gravity's keeping everything just perfectly in a fixed frame of reference and stuck to the sides, no problemo. So where is that gravity when you get to the North Pole and there is no centrifugal force to counterbalance? You should weigh hundreds of thousands of times more at the North Pole if gravity was a thing and the Earth was a spinning ball, as they claim, because there would be no centrifugal force to counterbalance. But no, people weigh a little bit more at the North Pole. And they say, well, see, gravity, people weigh a little bit more. No, that's ridiculous. It has to do with barometric pressure. Anyways, Stan DeLone says he doesn't think he'll ever quit tobacco now. I found out it can be bought whole leaf by the kilo in the EU for about 10 euros with no taxes for decorative purposes. Yeah, you can get it cheap. Don't smell like an ashtray. Yeah, it's a nasty habit for sure. YouTube vapes, he says, 11W 1.5 ohm. It's rough in the morning. I never could get into vape. I mean, I guess that might be a crutch, but I don't know, man. Like, so my friend, he had been a smoker for a long time, many decades, and he quit smoking cigarettes and cigars and started vaping. And within a year, he developed sinus cancer, and within another year, he was dead. So, I mean, maybe that's anecdotal. I don't know if that proves anything, but I do know that it's probably not a good idea to be putting vaporized chemicals into your sinuses and into your lungs and stuff like that. I mean, to each his own. I mean, maybe it's better than cigarettes, but, you know, again, there are people that die of lung cancer every day that never smoked. There are people that smoke their whole lives and die in a car crash and never get old enough to get cancer. My mom's grandmother lived to be over 100 and something and smoked cigarettes right up to the day she died. I mean, you know, you're never guaranteed infinite life, right? It's just not gonna happen. But cigarettes, you know, as much as I agree that it's a nasty habit and way too expensive, really it's the taxes that makes it so damn expensive. You know, the government's out for your best interest. They don't want you to smoke. So as long as they're getting rich off of it, it's cool. But, you know, you better make sure the government can get rich off of you killing yourself because they care about you, right? Just as much as NASA cares about the truth. Sure they do. All right, so that pretty much covers it. I am gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put out that the video review of Econolodge pretty soon, and then when I'm about to check out of here, I'm gonna link it up to a Google Plus review because, you know, one thing I've learned, man, is the customer's always right. Treat your customers well, man. Don't treat your customers like shit. For real. Doesn't matter what business you're in. But anyway. All right, you guys. Love y'all much. See you very soon in the next one. Be on the lookout for new content. And as I said before, fuck Rumble, fuck Econolodge, Flat Earth forever. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hey, can we